It happens
Hmm.
all the time. I'm sorry, StreamYard. I don't even know if you were hearing us. I'm sorry, StreamYard. We were backstage and we thought we were front stage, so we might have to repost this from band. All right, so we are in chapter 6 of Mark, verses 6 through, I'm sorry, 1 through 9. And we just read 1 through 3, and then we read 4 through 6. And we are still there right now. We're talking about how Jesus went to his hometown, and the town folks, his hometown folks, didn't even recognize, they didn't have a full appreciation of who and what he was. They
Hmm.
recognized that he was now teaching in a synagogue, and he was uh, teaching scriptures, he was performing miracles, but they had question about who he was and how he had the authority and ability to do that, because when he left from them, he was a carpenter.
Hmm.
But he came back a rabbi teaching in a synagogue and with a following of his own disciples. And they had question for him about whether or not he was studied enough to even be able to do that. They had question about, these are common questions even today, about whether or not he had formal teaching to be equipped and able to even have a prominent spot in the synagogue. To not just that he was, and then his family was a question too, who he came from. And they said, well, he was a carpenter. He left here a carpenter, but his sister's right here with us. So what they try to do is keep him bound on the level that they were, or the level that he left them at. They're not. They don't do anything. They're not spiritual people. They're not leading the church. They're not prominent in the community. Uh, so that's where we are. And then we went on to, that was 1 through 3, and 4 through 6 was um, where Jesus responded, saying that a prophet doesn't get honor in his own town.
And it
He was
said he
good.
he was amazed by their lack of faith. And we talked about how a lot of times, um, us as individuals, how many times do we get stuck in that current situation because of what somebody else projected onto us, right? So sometimes it may be comfortable where we are, but we always got to take that leap of faith, especially if it's somewhere that God has placed us or told us that we're supposed to be. Don't let someone else hinder your growth.
And that's a recap from Mark 6, 1 through 3, and then 4 through 6. And now we're going to continue in 7 through 9. Give me 1 second.
Let me start with 7.
Mm, Yep.
All right. So beginning at verse 7. Calling the 12 to him, he began to send them out two by two and gave them authority over impure spirits. 8. These were his instructions. Take nothing for the journey except a staff. No bread, no bag, no money in your belts. Wear sandals, but not an extra shirt. He said through 10,
Nope, through 9.
through 9, that was it.
And it says, from message, it says, Jesus called the 12 to him and sent them out in pairs. He gave them authority and power to deal with the evil opposition. He sent them off with these instructions. Don't think you need a lot of extra equipment for this. You are the equipment. No special appeals for funds. Keep it simple. All right. Mm.
I had to think back on that many, many, many times because a lot of times we just feel ill, ill prepared or ill equipped, right? Especially to go out and do something. Like I know a lot of times for me, it's like I was told to do something and I'm like, I can't do that. I ain't ready to do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But then every time that he sends us out, he always gives us what we need to handle what he put us in anyway.
I think that that's a thing that has to constantly be revisited, because each time. So listen. So we, it's a each and every opportunity thing. It's each and every time he gives you a command, an order, instruction, you have to each and every time revisit your faith.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. It's like it says daily bread, so you can't live today off of yesterday's bread.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to die to self daily. So what is that about?
It's like you got to prepare every day.
So it's a new thing every, and that's, I say every opportunity, because in any given day he can move you or move upon you, or let guide you by the Spirit, or speak to your spirit, into your spirit, a certain thing to do a certain way. Um, right after he told you the thing you just finished. So you accomplish that, and then the next thing comes, and it's like you said, you get to the point where you have to realize that in his instruction, he also is going to give you and equip you what you need with what you need.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think that you have to take anything but yourself and him to that engagement, that experience, the opportunity, that that meetup, whoever, whatever you're supposed to do, however you're supposed to do it. We need to remember to go relying on Christ to fulfill every, that give us the words to speak, give us the peace about it going into it, give us the strength, give us the faith that we have to choose to act upon. Now, fear may come upon us because of what we're going to encounter, but we have to remember that God is greater than that fear. He didn't send you to anything that you can't conquer. And even if it is that it's not supposed, it not doesn't turn out the fullness of what you think it is, God knows what his plans are. God knows how far it is, how much, how, what effect your role in that situation is going or supposed to be. So allow God to do what he's going to do in it. Allow God to use you how he's going to use you. Allow the Spirit to give you your, speak to you, and give you your commands. And remember that Jesus is praying on your behalf too. Jesus, go ahead.
And once you get to that point, that is a certain kind of growth, right? And like you said, it's not that you won't be uncomfortable in the task itself, because every task is going to be different. But once you understand and realize that no matter what you do, that you always have the Holy Spirit and you always have God with you, and in it all, you go into it with a different sense of authority, right? So it's not like I'm walking in it alone. I now have someone always with me, regardless of what it is. Now, again, every task may be different, and every task brings a different set of challenges. But the anxiousness about doing the task because you feel like you're alone is no longer there.
Each time you have to remember who and what God is to you, even in it, even in it. So you exercised your faith. You took the step. You started engaging the way Christ told you, the way the command came from the Holy Spirit. But don't leave from His presence.
Mm-hmm.
He won't leave from your presence. He's not going to leave you in it.
Right.
Oh, you here? Okay, you good. That's not happening. Remember who and what God is throughout the entire encounter, and yield yourself completely to Him. Let His will be done. Let Him use you how He will, so that ultimately the purpose is fulfilled. Your presence, the reason for your presence, the reason why He sent you and not somebody else, the reason, the your part of, your part may be just to plant the seed, or you may be the water, you may be the sunshine. Whatever it is, if you don't let Him do what He does in, with, and through you. Oh, and remember, we had the message a couple. I think it was the time before last one where you said, uh, we said that let Him do what He does in it. Don't let your human nature lead. Let let your holy nature be fed and filled by His Holy Spirit, so that your human nature, because how He delivered it to you is not necessarily how they need to receive it.
Right. Absolutely.
In it, let Him still be in it.
Absolutely.
So don't go saying, because Mama tell you, the download I get from God, It's not the download that everybody needs to hear. He speaks my language so I can hear it, so I can move. And in the encounter with whomever it is or whatever it is, I need to still let him be who and what he is in it, and let him speak and use me, so that the words that I speak on his behalf are his words and not my own. Because what I may need,
because I don't know your buffers and your
and he ain't
filters.
gonna call
Right.
me. He not gonna call you my name. So when he calls my name and he speaks to me, he's speaking to me in the language that is customary for us, our so that how we communicate, so how I know what he means and what, because oftentimes I will get something to download from. We're getting ready to go over. I get a download and I tell Kenny, hey, this is what I got, and she be like, uh huh. We've said that to you before. We shared it with you before, because the way I am supposed to receive it is not necessarily the way she's supposed to. But either we off track a little bit.
But then he will come back, and when he says it to me, it's crystal clear, right? So again, I don't know your filters, your buffer. You don't always know mine, and we don't know the people that we oftentimes are talking to. So just make sure that we let him use us, and whatever comes out is what he has meant or determined to come out, not what we want to come out.
All that said to remind you that don't go try to pack a bag with more things than you need to accomplish what he tells you to accomplish. He told them to pack light. He told them, get gone, go, take you. You are, what do you say? You are the equipment or whatever that you need. You are the tool that is going to be used. It said no bag, no bread, no copper in their belts. It says traveling light kept them dependent upon God. That's the thing. Don't try to go put in, oh man, if he didn't tell you, you need to go study Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, whatever. If he didn't, when he tells you to go, listen for his instructions specific to what he's ordering you to do. Let him move and tell you when you need to do what. Other than that, rely on the fact that he, at the point when he gave you the command, the order, the instruction, that at that point, whatever you needed to be prepared, he gave you, unless he gives you further instructions in it or on the way to it. Don't try to throw on more things. Okay, so he told you go speak to this person about being homeless, but you go try to do all kind of things. He didn't tell you, if he didn't tell you that you're going to go feed them, then don't go feed them. If he tells you to go take them to a place where they can get a shower, don't have no words with them, offer to them. If they say no, they whatever. The biggest thing is to stay connected to his Holy Spirit, to his Spirit, and let the Spirit guide you from the time you get the instruction all the way through into the end of the encounter. Don't go making up stuff and adding stuff to it. Oh, so God tells you, hey, go buy McDonald's and grab a sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit, and then you're gonna go, oh man, I'm gonna go get a whole meal.
Maybe they like this, and maybe let's go over here and get this. So then we get lost in the doing all the other things, and we miss what was the root of it all anyway.
I'm gonna say I've done that before. I've actually had offered a gentleman that I knew was homeless a meal out of what I wanted to do. And he said, thank you, but I just ate. So my point is, let the Spirit guide you. Let the Spirit move you from the time you get instruction throughout, because that was the reason why he told them not to pack and heavy. He told them to pack light so you can rely on God, so you can rely on him throughout the entire encounter, through the entire interaction. So there it is. That's the lesson for this evening. Again, thank you for your patience. We apologize. We had some technical difficulties, had to switch devices. And we also were not in the studio as we thought we were when we started. So we did a recap of Mark 6, 1 through 9. At that point, when we came into the studio, we were at 6, and we gave the recap, and then we continue now through verse 9. That is a lesson for this evening about Jesus and his reputation. We love y'all. We hope to see you next Tuesday. Have a great evening.
Have a good evening.
Hey, Sis Florence and Sis Sheila. We see you on. Thank you for your patience and working with us and being with us.